Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm very happy that you are watching this video. I really thank every one of you. To get started with, I just want to give you guys a short story about me. So this is Amal. I've been in this market about in trading. I'm trading in the financial market about almost 4 years. And the purpose of this video is just to break through my strategy and also some key points that I want to share with all of you, which I have learned during this journey. And in the meantime, I just want to break down how it is simple to make money in this market. And at the meantime, the purpose of this video is also I'm going to break down how I just turned $100 into $1,000 just within 2 trades. But remember, there are some real expectations that you need to have, and that's what we call edge, that you need to have an edge in this market, and keep some other cycles as well, because it's not so easy as we probably think, or some of the other traders probably talk. Trading requires time, trading requires patience, disciplines, consistency, which for many of us, including myself at the beginning of the journey, I had a lot of challenging time with the psychological parts. But anyway, with that being said, what I just want to point out before I'm going to break down my strategy. So remember the disclaimer points as well, that this is not any advice. I'm not going to encourage anybody to just leave I don't know what you're doing and get started into trading, or how you can just make $100,000 just in a day or in a month. This is nothing. There's no advice. There's no copy idea. It's just for the educational purpose. And I personally, I'm not doing a full-time trading right now, because I'm just holding other stuffs at the meantime. So right now I'm just doing this one as well as part-time and making a side hustle. I'm going to share with you and break with you, and it probably will help you, some of you, on this journey, no matter where in this journey you are. So with that being said, let's just get started with the first point that I want to share with you. All right, everyone. So the first point which I want to break down with you is that avoid news. Remember, avoiding news, especially when you're at the beginning of the journey, I think is very crucial. It's very challenging when you are in a big losses and when you just get stopped out by those news. That's why I just want to recommend and I'm share you my honest opinions to just avoid news. That's it. Where I basically watch those high impact news is on the Forex Factory. So I see if there's some CPIs, if there's some NFP or those high impact news. I just don't want to get into the market because there's a lot of manipulation and liquidity, and that's why I just don't want to be involved on this one. It's as simple as that, because there can be a high spread, and probably it will not going to, imagine if your stop loss is very close where you have your entry level, the spread can be very high and it can cause you a double risk where you have been expecting. So that's why I just make it simple, guys, to avoid news, avoid trading during the news. That was the first point which I want to point out. The second point is the method. Remember, guys, this is there's no secret. So I'm not coming here to make anything a secret for you guys. There's no perfect strategy, perfect way to tell you exactly what you have to do. So method, what is method? Basically, it's a strategy. So in order to reach the destination, right, you need to have a map. So this map can help you which route, which direction you have to take. And the same with the trading, right? So in order to become consistently profitable and successful in this trading, you need to have a strategy, you need to have a method to understand what time of the day you need to be in the chart, what time of the which season do you need to mainly focus on, which hours, So I think method, having a strategy is very, very important. And we all know that 20% of this market is practical, it's technical, and the 80% mainly is just psychological. So that's why sometimes this 20% can save you the 80% if you really, really follow it in a right way. Because I know at the beginning of the journey, if you are, let me just give you guys a short story. So if you are at the beginning of the journey, which I have been like the first 2 years, very, very crucial, especially the first 1 year. To be honest, for me, I was just like kind of didn't take trading very serious. I was just playing with that. I was just saying like a hobby. I'm like, even if you have a hobby, but you need to be serious because you put the money in this market, you put the time, and if you just, what I didn't do in the beginning of the journey, I was just giving my time, and at the same time, I was just putting my money on this market, and just, I was loading. So the first year, I didn't focus at all to learn nothing. I'm just like following, copying other people, just copying kind of signals, and there's no way to just progress because you are just copying someone else and you don't learn, especially when it comes to the signal. There are many signal groups that people sharing on the social medias. You all might have went through or noticed. The second year, I start to learn and give more time a little bit still, but still I had those greedy and fear that because, well, I've been 1 year in this market, why I'm not still profitable, I need to make money. And then the psychological parts which mostly affected on me, I got the FOMO and the fear, all those greeds, all those psychological circles which came in my mind, so I couldn't literally or honestly control my mind or control my emotions towards the decisions that I made in this market. So that's why the first 2 years it's always crucial. But at the meantime, I'm going to be honest with you guys that with everyone here that watching, everything is possible in this market. You might have seen some traders that they turned $100 or $1,000 in a matter of month into $100,000. It is possible. And I'm going to call this one luck because probably you can be lucky that you can make I don't know, $500,000 just in 6 months. It is possible. But remember how they say, I'm like, no matter which business you're holding, the majority of the people, they fail on their business, 95% or 90% of them in the first 5 years, and probably about 50% of them after 7-8 years, and about I think 20 between or 50% of them, the rest can fail after 10 years. So you always have to focus on the long term, and it's not I'm sorry guys. And remember, we are in a marathon game, we are in a long journey. So if you want to be on this market, keep in mind that keep it small, keep it consistent, and learn a method, learn a strategy. So, and I cannot believe that someone is going to call themselves profitable and successful before being 2 years in this market, because to be honest, fun fact, there are also some aspects that you need to go through, you need to learn, you need to have this short-term experience that no mentor, no one can ever give you in this market. The amount of time, the amount of hours, I'm being honest, the amount of time and the amount of hours that you put in this time is unexpected. So you need to go through that. You need to go through all those up and down sides, because otherwise, I mean, like as I just said, it's just luck, and luck is kind of wish, and it doesn't save you for long term. So as I mentioned, the second part is a key point that I want to mention is the method. You need to have a method. You need to keep your method strategy and see it in a way that you're listening to yourself, what you see and what you think, and put that into action. Do not get distracted by someone else, maybe some other trader fellows that you have and you communicate. Probably on that day that this person has made a good trade, a positive trade, the same maybe strategy kind of, but you just didn't, you got stop loss or stopped out. So I don't want to go through I don't want to go out of these subjects for today, but remember, having a strategy is very important, and you have to always keep it the same, follow it properly, and do not try to escape or change the method when especially if you don't have one. At least you need to put into practice that strategy or that method at least for 6 months. And if you or let's say experiencing well, this strategy is not working for 6 months, and if you keep it consistently with the risk and everything, then it's a good idea to go deep and find out where you did the mistakes. Okay, what is really the reasons that this strategy is not working? I have changed the strategy, to be honest. I've been doing a swing trading in the past, and I had totally different strategy. And today I'm just trading. Basically, I'm a day trader, but sometimes my trades can be executed in a matter of some minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I'm out from the market. And it all depends on, sometimes you just have to wait. Sometimes price can hold some couple of hours, and so it is normal. Anyway, the next point which I want to break down for you guys is the scenario and expectation. So let me tell you how I'm exactly thinking or doing when I get in front of the charts in a daily, in a daily base. So the first thing, as I said, I just watch the news. Second, the method. So I know that I have a list of rules that I'm just watching, okay, that I need to pay attention to these rules. Scenarios and expectation, then I draw down my scenarios. Okay, scenario first, well, we are in the right market, right? There's New York session. The first scenario, which I'm just waiting at this point, this is the first key level, which I just need to wait. So I'm just calculating the amount of the pips, where or how much it has to be my stop loss, which that makes sense, right? And based on that stop loss, I correct or I measure my risk as well. My risk is always the same. I don't want to, change with the amount of the pips. The risk is always the same, but I just measure okay, sometimes the amount of the stop loss based on my scenario, it can be 50 pips, and my risk is $100. Let's say an example. And even if it's 100 pips, my risk is always $100. So, and based on my scenario, which let me just tell you, there's another point, I don't want to miss it. Based on my scenario, so I'm not going to grade and change my risk management based on the grades, but let's say if I have 3 scenarios, okay, based on each scenarios, what I do basically is that I want to have a different risk reward. So let's say, for example, I have one scenario here, okay, I have second scenario at this level and third scenario at this level, okay. So if the price is at this point and heading towards this zone, I know that we have these 3 scenarios. And if the price, let's say this is a supply zone, we have first, second, third, and there's more chances that price could break this zone, in a short term. And in order that the price is going to create these distributions toward downsides, I have more expectation that this price would come from off of these zones. So that is why I always like the first scenario, which I basically expect or create is very lower, 1 to 2 hour trade, okay. From the second scenario, I probably expect a 3 hour trades, and from the first one where I have at the beginning of the session, probably the market has created, I'm expecting probably a 5 hour trade. So, and based on this one, my risk is, as I say, always the same. And sometimes, as I say, probably from the first zone, it can price. The price could be executed in a matter of some minutes. From the second scenario, maybe from 1 hour to 2 hours, something. And from the stopper one, if we have a supply zone looking for a sell based on my scenario, then my expectation has to be real. And I can imagine like that price can be holding a couple of hours into one day, right? Not one full day. So that's why it's important to keep in mind and observe these ideas. Anyway, what is the next point that I would just want to share with you? Let me just clean this page here. Number 4, which I want to break through for you guys, is the risk management. I think there's tons of information, right, about the risk management and like different ideas how you have to manage your risk. But remember, this is one of the most important part. Risk management, if you don't properly follow that, you don't properly respect that, it's just like, gambling. It's just like putting your money on the table, and of course someone else on the other side of the table, they just come and take it. As one of the successful traders called, I think, what was his name? It was Michael. I don't know exactly the full name, but on the book, The Market Wizard, he said how funny it is, right, that trading is kind of like a business or a tool that on one side it can make you happy, right? The person that makes the person happy, right? But on the other side, it can screw the life of another person. And that's how it is. It's just, and you don't have to make it so much complicated, and you have to be very realistic. And this is related to the risk management. So if you're not managing your risk properly, if you're changing every week, every month, every year, not every year, but at least every day, then you cannot expect the consistency or the trading is going to pay off for you, because you don't hold yourself responsible, and you are probably on one trade you're risking $100, and the next trade is 500, the next is 1,000, and the curve of your process, it can be like this, right? And you don't want to have, you just want, the idea about the consistency is just like, you just climbing up like step by step, right? You don't want to make this steps in 2 or in 3 steps, right? You don't want to just make or just wait for a home run on every trade. And that's why you have to keep it small, keep it consistent, keep your risk the same. And especially when you are, let's say, in the loss, you have to think that you have to reduce your risk. So like that, you just you can find that confidence and come back stronger and make more better decisions, right? Make a decision that you're confident that your strategies is playing and working. So all you need to do is just you have to be patient on your risk management. So the last point, guys, I just want to point out is about journaling. So journal is one of as well interesting points, very important, which I want to talk about. Why it's important journal. What I basically do, so at the end of the every session, so every trading, if I'm executing any trades or open the trades, I basically recap my days and I find out, okay, I just go through everything. Sometimes I'm going deeper, like, okay, what was the reason which I didn't act probably maybe at this soon. So let me just start. So when it comes to the journal, the idea about the journal is that, so everything you think, everything you feel, you have it in your mind. But you're human, right? You can forget. So that's why journal can help you to have a copy of all those thoughts, ideas into the paper. So, and this helps us, like, if you forget, imagine if you're forgetting this information, this idea, when you come on your notebook or when you come on your computer, you see that, okay, those are the points that I should need to consider for the next move. And what I do basically is exactly the same. So at the end of the journey, at the end of the day, I just recap my days, going through all those like scenarios which I created. If I'm like which one of them played out, which one of them didn't play based on my expectations, and if my risk reward is correct, and if my risk management is right, like risk management is as well. And then I see like if I felt FOMO or fear or greedy, anything, I just write it down. I journal them, I write it down, and I write every lessons that I learned. And I think journal is very important, very helpful. So you always have to do, no matter what lesson. Imagine if you have a day that you are in front of the chart and you don't take any trades. You just sit and write it down like, okay, why didn't you take this trade, any trades today? Let's say even the entire week, okay, why you didn't? So if you're a trader, like if you are a day trader especially, you need to write it down like, okay, why you didn't make any trades. So write down those thoughts, write down those emotions. And then the next move is that you have to make a like weekly recap, which this is also something that you're going through the whole weeks, right? Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, during this 5 days. We can have during 5 days like some red days and some green days, and some days like just empty, there's nothing. So that is why we cannot expect every day the same. That's why we cannot expect or have unrealistic expectations every week or every day. So some weeks, some months, some year, it can be green and red, and that's why we have to just focus on the long term. And journaling and recapping can save us from all those wrong decisions that we make, and it can help us, right? So the next point as well is about the back testing. So imagine by journaling, you probably notice that, okay, when you journal and the day before when you get into the charts, you get one day back like, okay, where I did the mistakes yesterday or last week. So today I have this very, like, let's say for example, you maybe put a little bit like on a sticker in front of your computer. You say like, okay, today the first thing I need to just, no matter what, I have to just avoid taking trades during the news. So you write maybe on the sticker like, okay, no trades during the news. So, and when you're doing a back testing and you see like that trades based on your emotions, right? Maybe your fear, you didn't maybe paid attention on the news, and you took trades during the news. So by back testing, you can find out, okay, what time, if you go deeper into the back testing sites, you probably find out like, okay, where was the small mistakes? You check like, okay, I got this stopped out by this trade due to the news impact, which I didn't pay attention. Even you had write it down in front of you, or maybe you didn't write it down, and you did this mistakes. And by back testing, you can find out like, okay, you took that trade, which it was one of your rules that you should not have broke during the news, but you broke. So backtesting can help us as well to maintain our strategy and our decisions. The same, like for example, you probably had, let's say, almost 80% of the confluences that you have been waiting based on your strategy, but just you needed maybe 1 or 2 more confluences in order to execute the trades. So in this situation, by backtesting, it can help you like, okay, maybe next time you need to wait just some minutes more, 1-2 hours more, or maybe you need to wait just in a specific season where your strategy can play out better, right? Or maybe you just have to not change, but add a little bit more in a pips up or down, like on your stop loss. So during a specific time or specific season over the long term. So my point is, guys, back testing. At the beginning of my journey, I never thought about back testing. Like, okay, it's not important because because from every mentor, when I learned their strategy, all they've been talking like, you don't need to do any back testing. Why? Because this setup or a strategy which I'm doing is just valid, and this means that I've been in this market about like 5 years or 10 years, and it has been playing out, so and it's positive and it's valid, so you don't need to make any decisions. All you have to do is just follow, and it's like kind of copy it. But remember, I'm going to bring you just on the side on my chair, like, and I'll tell you like, what do you see in the chart, and I can guarantee you are seeing a different image and different scenarios and different setups in my screen and at the meantime when I'm looking. So what this means, what does this mean? This means that even if I'm giving you my, even if I'm giving you my strategy, okay, this is my strategy, these are the criteria that you have to follow and adopt, but you have to make the decisions. And this decisions means that you have to see that part from your own, place. And you see that absolutely and fully different, in a different vision, in a different way. So that is why backtesting can help you, like, to find your own edge, to find your own formula, to find the solutions, to find or to create your map. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the journey, guys, I never thought, and every mentor that I learned this business from, they always just saying like, oh, you don't need to make any backtesting. But I'm telling you, make backtesting, because sometimes you maybe need to add some more confluences on your setup. And there is no secret in this market, and there is nothing like sometimes we talk about the aha moment. The aha moment is just inside you, it's in you. So all you have to do is you have to build that confidence, and this confidence, it comes with your own effort, with the time that you put on this on this business. So yeah, as I just said, that I'm like, you have to consider, you have to pay attention for the backtesting. It's helpful. All I can tell you guys is just helpful, and you can create your own setup. That's it. There's nothing more secret on this one. So now I just want to break down my setup, my strategy with you guys. And so as I just said previously, I don't want or this video is not any advice. There's nothing to just copy. I explain everything. I'm like almost everything, many important points at the beginning of this video. So right now I'm going to break down for you guys my strategy, the scenarios, and the expectations, my risk management, and how this has been playing out. Anyway, so let's just get this started. I just want to remove some of, let's say I have a lot of lines in this on my chart. So let me just remove everything here. So as you can see here, guys, as I just mentioned previously, right? I'm just trading US30, right? So what I do, the first thing I do basically is I just make, I find the high and the low of the day in this market. So let's just get it started. Like as we can see here, this was a trade that I took yesterday. Let me just show. You guys can see here exactly we had these two trades, and this is funny, guys. It's just all about the consistency. It's just not about one-day trades, as I mentioned, but remember, it can pace you just like by the time that you give it on this market. Let me just create a box here, a text box. I just want to show exactly what I want to talk. The first thing, I basically identify the daily high and daily low. Okay? The second thing which I do is basically I found out the previous previous daily high and the previous daily low. This is the first step, and this I do is basically on some specific time frames, which I'm going to break down on another video. Exactly, I will go deeper. And next, what I do is basically I do top, down, top and down analysis. It means I start with daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes. All right. And the next, what I basically do is creating those scenarios based on the specific session. That's what I basically do every day. So, and then more identifying the key levels inside the session, and from the closest days or weeks. So yeah, let's get started with the first point. So as I just mentioned here, guys, what I basically do is I just identify those daily high and low. So as we can see here that this is a session indicator which I'm using basically, and during this sessions I just mark or draw those lines and mark my daily low and daily high. As you can see here, yesterday, the day before yesterday, Monday, on 3 of March, the New York session has created this daily high. So I just mark it out, my high of the day. Let me just put on replay so like that can go back. Okay, so this was the Mondays, right? And then we find out where we have the low, right? Daily low. So we can see here basically we have this as our low of the day, and then one day before we basically find out as well. So this is from the previous high of the day, and we do have this notes as well from two days, right? So the second thing, as I mentioned, what I basically do is I do my top-down analysis. So I just start with the daily time frame. So if we check the daily time frames, guys, what we do have is basically, let me remove these lines. So right now, I just did it previously. So right now, as you can see here, that we are on a downtrend, right? And what happened here, basically, we had a little bit of range, price pushed through this zone here, and we can see that after this impulsive move, price created this daily high, as we are on the downside, right, in the downtrend, but we do have a supply zone here which I already marked. And the second, basically, which had happened yesterday, we do have this zone as our daily demand zone. So I mark up this one, then I do go to the 4-hour time frame. So let me just find out the 4-hour time frames, demand and supply zones. So the closest zone, remember the closest circle we have to just identify. This is the 4-hour supply zone. Then we do back, we can find maybe August 2nd as well. We have one zone here on the 4-hour time frame. And how we can say this is a demand zone, because we can see here, I basically personally identify them with the amount of the candles or the move that happened right after the price has been ranged. Like for example, as you can see here, the price has been ranging, and then we saw an impulsive move here that we saw these huge candles break through these zones, and it's a valid for me supply zone based on the 4-hour time frame. Same here, as you can see here, as price strongly break this zone here, we created a supply zone on the 4-hour. And when the price came here, we can see here that how this has been playing as a supply zone, and we see that push to the downside. What I basically do next is, in the meantime, which I identify on the upsides if we are expecting a buy, a long position. Same times we are going to find at the bottom lines as well. So if you are looking for sell ideas, for example, so as you can see here, as the price has been at this zone, so this zone is no more valid, but we do have a 4-hour supply demand here, and we do have a 4-hour demand here. Next, I basically just going on a 1-hour time frame, and what I do, and the same exact like daily, I am going to identify those 1 hour. So we do have a 1 hour supply zone here. We check, do we have anything in the past, any demand zone on the 1 hour time frame? So we do have zones like here, which we are seeing an impulsive move 1 hour, and we do have exactly this one here, 1 hour, and that's it. So once we mark those higher time frame supply and demand zones, what I do basically, then I'm waiting for for the potential supply and demand inside the sessions, which I basically or mainly take or open my trades during the only New York session. So as we are on the 15 minutes time frame, you can just basically see that we do have some supply and demand zone on the, not demand, but supply zone on the 15 minutes time frame as well. So we do have two supply zones on the 15 minutes time frame. So we have this zone, the first, and this is the second. And based on this one, remember guys, based on this 15 minutes, so I have like, let's say, two scenarios. Right now I have two scenarios. As I previously said, my scenarios and expectations. So from this zone, I'm expecting a very low risk reward. So I probably, like, if I'm taking this trade, let's say I'm expecting a 2 or 3 or 4 or trade. But from this zone, I'm going to expect like a 5-hour trade. All right. So what's happening now? So basically, I'm marking this 15 minutes time frame, and at the meantime, I'm going to identify the 5 minutes time frame. So we can just see here, we do have the 5 minutes, and where we have the previous high of the day as well. And at the meantime, you can see here this supply zone is in sync in the same at the same price, right, for the 5 minutes. So I'm going to just add 5 minutes. All right. So we do have already two scenarios that we're looking for sell, but remember, right now where the price is holding, we are in a downtrend. So as the price is inside the range, price is going sideways. So I have two scenarios now. This means if this price from this zone, okay, going to head up and break this level of, like range, this zone here, then I'm expecting for a long positions to target this 15 minutes first, and once it break here, then I'm going to expect a long position towards this zone here. Then I'm looking for sell from here. And at the meantime, if this price is going to break under this zone here, remember when I'm saying this and this wick here, this zone here, then I'm looking for a sell. And this means that I'm going to look for a sell if it break towards which zone? First zone, I can tell you guys, this zone here, which we have on 1 minute time frame, 5 minutes time frame at demand. It's not really valid demand zone because I know that the price never stopped here and didn't range anything. But I'm going to target this 1 hour time frame. So these are the scenarios, right? So keep in mind, and we are just waiting for the potential supply and demand zone inside the session. As you can see here, that both of these trades that I took, you can see the time at what time I have executed. Both of them, it happened at 9. I'm like, this happened at, in our time, let me just say where it was at 9 o'clock in the evening, and this one is happened at 9 and 3 in the morning. So one happened during the London session, and it ended up during the beginning of the New York session. So as we can see here, I basically just wait that the London session opens. When it opens, in our time, right now this indicator just showing that we are basically during the new London session. So what I do is just, as I said, prices right now ranging. I'm just waiting that we're gonna get out of this range. That's all I'm waiting. So as we can see here, price range. And now what happened basically, so I'm just watching these lower time frames, 5 minutes, 1 minute, 15 minutes. So these 3 time frames. So right now what happened, you can see here that we do have a level of range. We have a support, resistance, and we do have we can see here basically a level of support. So every time price came here, market, the price acted as a support. So it means right now we are heading to the downside. As I previously said that I'm looking for this move all around this zone, but we see that this price has been it's a fake. It's like a liquidity or manipulation that happened, but basically we have this price in between these 2 zones. So so what happened here? Now I got this potential supply zone. So I'm more convinced, based on my setup, to take a short position. So as I'm going to mark this one as a 5 minutes, and then I'm checking the 1 minute time frame as well. So on the 1 minute time frame, I do have this candle. So, and that's it, guys. There's nothing more. So as we saw this move, and then I'm just I don't put at this time, I don't set any alarms. I just basically set my alarms around these zones. But as we can see here, that does the market create these zones. So my stop loss is about 50 pips. Now my entry time frames is basically 5 minutes. 1 or 5 minutes doesn't matter. Which one it makes, but I always most of the time I enter or open the trades on the 1 minute 5 minutes time frames. So as we can see, where is my basically TP? So my TP, as we have this zone as a previous low of the day, sometimes price can act as a support. But anyway, I'm going to mark this zone here because still we had an impulsive move off of this candle. Off of this zone here. So if I'm going to take this trades, it's going to give me a 4.4 R. So this is what happened. I remember when I saw this move, guys. So I'm going to mark up this one. Remember, we do have price has been ranging. We got out of this structure. So as you can see on the 1 minute time frame, we got this move, and it means that the market structure has shifted. So we have been bullish. So we had a 1 minute demand zone here, and the same 5 minutes. I'm going to mark. So this is that 5 minutes which I've been targeting my TP. And I close, I think, somewhere between, because price about 5 or something like this around this one. Why here? Because even the price will retrace this soon. We basically have some liquidity. Price could most of the time can come under these zones that we will have some liquidity. So as we can see, basically price start to reverse toward this zone here, and we are still at the middle of the London session. I just placed my trade, and I cannot do anything more. So I basically put my stop loss and put my TP, and all I have to do is just wait. So as you can see here how solid this happened. Once the price came at this zone, we had a very nice beautiful bearish engulfing, where strongly it has just engulfed all these previous candles. And this is just part of the confluence. Part of my confluence and setup. And when I saw these kinds of candles, I can always just place on break even, or I just leave it I don't like to basically close, change my stop loss into break even. But sometimes it depends on you. It depends on your risk. If you trust your setup, so you just have to be patient. You have to wait. As you can see here, price start to reverse again once again, and it it retraced around this, like this candle. I'm not going to tell you like is a supply zone, but on the 1 minute time frame we can still see like this candle almost act as a supply zone, as price has been holding around this. But anyway, as price starts to hold a bit, and it's normal when the price come in a level of supply and demand, you have to expect that price can hold or range a little bit, and this is telling us where the buyers and sellers are kind of in fight or in push to put the price or hold the price on their favor. So as we are in a downtrend, so my expectation just was in a power downside, right? As you can see here, and it starts to go towards our TP until the end of this London sessions. So I basically catch this by risking just about $100. So you guys can see this was the trade which I took, been like basically around 100, and I closed this one onto 5-4, and it's as simple as that. Sometimes you need to the thing about the risk reward is very important, guys. You always, especially when you're in the beginning of the journey, it's not about taking the trades like 1 to 10 or something, or just close on 1 to 1. 1 to 1 is the worst ever. I think it's very crucial, and it depends. It can be also depends on your risk. Some traders that they have been maybe 10 years in this market probably targeting 1 to 1 or, and based on the risk, probably they're risking a 10% on one trade, and they want to just make 1 to 1 or for a profit. But for me, I just see what the market of the chart tells me, and based on that I just take my trades, and that is it. I don't want to make it very complicated. So what happens basically, guys, here, the second, as we can see, we had this nice move. This has played out. So let us just clean our chart. So what I basically do is I write them down, putting on the side, journal everything, all these decisions which happened. So I remove these lines. So I clean my charts. What is the next move is I basically see that the price came here, no more valid. So as you can see here, once the price came around this zone, we saw this move. As I told you guys, price could hold a little bit before you will see this next move towards this zone. So as you guys can see here, we had this nice move, this impulsive move, break through this zone, this no more valid. So right now what's happening? Basically, as we talked about earlier, we are right now, the price is on the daily demand zone. So as price break through this zone, so this 1 hour is no more valid. So why I'm marking these 1 hour and 4 hours, basically, I'm going to break down in another section. I don't want to make you confused, guys. But these 1 hours or 4 hours are basically is a zone where I place my TP, not my entry. Sometimes it depends on the sessions, but most of the time I just place my TP. So as you can see, as price came toward this zone here, so now it has been ranged a bit, and it's basically why, because we are in a level of demand on the 4 hour time frames and 1 hour time frames. And as you can see here, as prices start to range, we check on the lower time frame, we probably can see some shift of a structure. We see it's a little bit choppy. Doesn't look clean, so that's why you don't want to get into this. But what happened basically for me is, during the New York session, I have two zones basically. This is a 15-minute supply, it's a potential supply zone, and this is the second. Or I can say this is the first and this is the second, where I created on that during the London session. So let me just put this one, and then I mark on the 5-minute time frame as well. So on the 5 minutes, where the price create the supply zone near to the previous low of the day, I'm going to just mark this one as well. And around this zone here, where we had is basically exactly this kind of on the 5 minutes. So, and as all I'm just waiting, to be honest, that I'm expecting a push from this demand zone towards here. Then I'm looking for sell, looking for a little bit range. Then I'm looking for this push back toward this. Probably it's gave us a zone where we can identify a level to place our TP. So this is just my scenario. So as we can see here, prices start to move. So with this, as price has been holding probably in the lower time frame, as I mentioned earlier, guys. So look at this one. This one looks much cleaner, but I was looking for long to target this supply, but price never came here. Literally, I was looking for long position because price has been start to range a bit, and we saw this move. We got out of this structure at 1, 2, 3 candles. This is my part of the confluence, and it start to move. So anyway, the main target, the main zone where I'm looking for sell is basically here. So I basically, from this 5 minutes time frame, my TP around 50 pips. This was the first zone which I was looking for sell, and this was the second zone was here exactly. So these two zones, it was the zones that I was looking for sell, and from the 5 minutes, as I said. So let me just identify the 1 minute time frame as well. So as you can see here, the 1 minute time frame, the gaps is huge, and that's why I don't want to get into 1 minute time frame. And this, you can see it's about like almost 70 pips. So for me, it makes sense to take this trade on the 5 minute time frame. So as you can see here, we have this demand zone, as I told you guys, that I'm like, this is this point, this which it happened during the sessions. So it gives me a zones where I can, if I'm going to catch this trade, I can place either my TP. Depends on the charts. So as you can see here, we have this move on the 15 minute time frame. This is the closest zone, which can give you 1 to 6 hour. If you want, based on the lower time frame, you just have to wait a little bit more. This, which can give you guys up to 1 to 10 hour. So as you can see here, basically, once the price came, nicely how we saw this impulsive move. But as I mentioned, my TP was around this 15 minutes of demand, where the market created during the sessions. So I close about 1 to 5.5 or 1 to 6, or if I don't make a mistake, 1 to 0.6, yeah, 6.5 or so. You can basically see here that I catch this trade at 21.22. I'm like at 9, and you can basically see here that how nicely. Remember, for example, this candle, we got a doji candle, we got a bearish engulfing, and it has closed around this zone. And this, you can make sure sometimes if you don't place TP and you want to confirm that it's candlesticks, and if you're seeing this kind of candles, for me, if I would wait a bit more without placing my TP, I would definitely place my TP around this zone here. Why? Because all I got, I got what I just wanted based on the technical parts. I got a bearish engulfing, I got a doji, price close around this zone, so my TP would be definitely this zone here, without thinking like it's a 10 hour or it's a 5 hour, it's a 3 hour. So, and that is it, guys. It is simple, it's easy. Risking $100 in 2 trades, I made around $1,000. And as I mentioned, you don't have to make it so much complicated. Trading is simple, it's not easy. There's a difference for me, the definition of the simple and easy. You can make it simple, but it's not easy because you need a chart time, you need an experience, you need to you need to learn a strategy, you need to create your strategy, you need to observe or consider those fundamental factors and what is happening in the world right now. This we cannot avoid. This is not what we have to do anything with. And in order to focus on yourself, focus on your own journey, just focus on yourself. And that is it, guys. I'm like, we all can see what's happening in this market, in the financial market as well. We see like, it's just like, we are seeing a very strong, pushes, prices falling over 10-20%, both in the crypto market, and the stock market as well. So, but you don't have to get distracted on those. You just have to follow your own journey. That's all I can tell you guys. So I think I have just went through a lot of stuff on this one video, and I can understand that it can be a lot of information at one time to just bear this in mind. I would recommend you guys to watch it at least 2 times so you can understand exactly what I have talked. So and with that being said, guys, the last thing I just want to point out is about the TradeZilla. TradeZilla is the tool or the platform where I journal my trades. I backtest my strategy. It is the best tool which I ever found. I don't have any affiliation with them. I don't have any, any agreement with them. So I'm just using this, and I'm going to use this one. I have been using this for about 2 years now. It just shows the whole reports or data for me, and it helped me with my journey a lot. I love the backtesting parts, because every time when I go to the backtesting part, then I can find those key elements, like where I did the mistakes that I have to pay more attention. And the good thing is as well that you can see, like, all those daily and weekly and monthly reports, and the average risk reward, the average profits in a day or in a week. So there's tons of information, and if you want to really maintain your strategy or setup, Trezor is the best tool, which if somebody want to have a very interesting or valid tool to journal, I think this is the best. So what I basically do as well, you can see they have this beautiful these options here as well, which I really like. You can just write the trade notes, and if you want to have a daily journal, so you can write down also, which this daily journal, I think if you go to the university parts of this Trezor, they tell you everything. But I journal everything, decisions, and when I click on this one, you can see here if it's London and New York, the confluence. When I check, I just put those key confluence or parts which I have on this confluence parts, the entry time frames, or the mistakes. If I did any mistakes, you guys can see here I have already added everything, so I don't have to do so much. Just take me a couple of minutes and I'm done. So with that being said, guys, I really appreciate every one of you who has watched all the way with me up to here, this video, this breakthrough moment. I really appreciate. And if you guys have any questions, please put on the comment fields. And if you have any thoughts, you can share as well with me. I would love to learn from all of you, and I would love to have those feedbacks. What do you think? And if you want me to maybe create another video about anything regarding the trading, so let me know on this description box and the commenter fields. So with that being said, I will see you guys on the next video.